Hey folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into part 2 of my Lord of the Rings collection. I forgot to include Gordon the Cave Troll here in my open figures collection. I found them in the computer room and brought them out here. And this is a nice figure. It's a nice large figure. As you can see here, I got the Moria Goblin here tugging him along on his chain, and he's nice, detailed. The only thing is his gimmicks. I really put some gimmicks into this guy, and it really hampers his posability and his articulation. Let me just show you, because the gimmicks are really nice though, at least for display and showing off, and I like showing this guy off. But he's got these two levers or switches. You push down on this lever here, actually extends his arm. You just push it down, you can see him thrusting the spear forward. And then this other lever here actually has him swinging down his hammer, and actually makes some sounds here. Let me try this guy here. And you can see his mouth open and close as well. It's really kind of neat. But because of these gimmicks, it really limits the posability of this guy. And his articulation is not that great as well. You can see the swivel shoulders here because of the gimmick, and he doesn't even have any knee or ankle articulation. He just has a V cut here on the hips. And I think his head may move back and forth, but I don't want to risk damaging the head there. And this is one of the few figures I saw in the store where his lips weren't ripped off by some vandal or just some dumbass. But I was lucky to find Gordon here with intact lips. It's just kind of neat. I just really like this guy here. So, but continuing on to figures I have here that are in the package, and we'll go ahead and start over here. I have quite a few, as you can see. This set here are not Toybiz figures. These are actually Toy Vault figures. I guess they had the license before Toybiz acquired the movie license. And first up here we have a Smeagol, or Gollum, however you want to associate with. And you can see he comes with a little boat there, and some coney, or a coney there, that unfortunately had its neck snapped. So. But I really like this figure. It's not very articulated. It's got single jointed elbows and knees. Looks like a swivel shoulder there. I'm not sure about the head. Head and neck are all one, and even the ankles are just swivel cuts. So, but it's still a nice sculpt. I really like that sculpt. And next we have here a Frodo the Hobbit. You can see it's kind of meh on the figure, but it comes with some nice accessories there. And then you have Ugluk the Orc. You can see the articulation on this guy's. Meh. It's alright. And you got the sculpt there and some accessories as well. And you can tell these are not a movie license. I don't even know if, no, they're not the Bakshi renditions either. I think it's just their own version of the characters. And this one here, you have Gandalf the Wizard. It's kind of neat. He has a whole bunch of accessories on there. Very long beard on this one. This one here is the chess set from the movie. This one's pewter, I believe. It's a fairly heavy set. I never opened this. I got this for Christmas one time. It's kind of neat though. Some of the characters on there. Very, very cool on there. Ooh, even have alerts. Okay. Next thing we'll take a look at here. are the armies of Middle-earth. Ugh, fair amount of dust. This guy was in my closet. And these are smaller scale figures, and they're not very articulated. But if you wanted to recreate like a diorama scene, you can barely see Aragorn through the dust there. It's kind of cool. And he even had some larger sets with the Balrog. Looks like Ornthak, and even some siege weaponry there. It's kind of cool on there. And have more here. Boromir and Merry and Pippin there. Kind of neat. And look at that layer of dust. You got the ring rates, a couple of them there. And looks like I had another Boromir and Merry and Pippin. I had a Gandalf on Shadowfax, but I don't know where that might be. Onto the Toybiz figures here. We have here a Return of the King prologue Bilbo from the prologue scene. So I'm not sure why this is in the Return of the King set. But you can see Bilbo here. He has no articulation at the elbows. He does have some at the knees and no articulation at the ankles, which is unfortunate. Because by the time Lord of the Return of the King line came out, the hobbits had some articulation at the ankles there. I'm not sure why they not included that on there. And he's got a molded ring in his hand. Kind of neat. And Sting. And younger Ian Holm, I believe. I think it's Ian Holm on there. And we also have a traveling Bilbo. I have these figures here categorized generally by character. But we have a traveling Bilbo here. He has a fair amount of articulation, none at the elbows, none at the ankles on this one as well. And this is a trilogy edition. Oh, this is probably a repack of the Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, it is. Or Two Towers, I'm sorry. On there, and he has no action gimmicks on here. So just some articulation. Even comes with a pot, even comes with the mithril coat. Even the Red Book of Westmarch on there, which is kind of cool. And I got that for $6. And this is the original release over here. And it has everything that this version had, except for this has a diorama scene of the front door of the house over there. You can see a illustrated diagram of that, which is very neat on there. That's really, really cool. I really like that on there. And it looks like I had another prologue Bilbo there. Now on to the Frodo sets here. This one is the original Fellowship of the Ring Frodo. This is the one of the Hobbit I showed in part 1 of the video on there. This one had a nice diorama base as well, and a recreation of the One Ring there. Very cool on there. And this here is a Frodo in Goblin Disguise armor. And this one is fairly articulated. I don't believe this has any action gimmicks. I know that Garahawk has a video of Frodo in Goblin armor. So if you want to take a look at that, he has a video up. And you can see he has the helmet and has this orc sword here. And I think this one is fairly articulated as well, and with no action gimmicks on there. So, and it looks like I had 2 of those. And we have here a Smeagol, and you can tell that's Smeagol. He's got a smile on his face. And this particular figure has, I believe, bendy wire in limbs on there, so the articulation is limited to as far as you can bend those arms and legs on there. And you can see he comes with a nice base with a try me feature. And and he's got Smeagol phrases on there, so which is kind of neat. But as far as articulation, I think it's just limited to the bendy wire on there. And we have here a superposable golem, although it really should be superposable Smeagol. He's got a grin on his face on there. And this one has no gimmicks other than what's on the base, but no gimmicks on the figure, which is really nice. And he's fairly articulated. You can see the swivel cut at the biceps, hinged elbows, swivel at the thighs, double at the knee, double hinge, hinged ankles, toes, even fingers on there. So this guy's fairly nice, and it's got torso up and down, and probably rotation at the waist as well. And the gimmick is not limited to the figure, but to the base. And you can see he can crawl up the wall if you place them on certain points on the wall. So this is a very nice figure. I'm just glad that this posable Smeagol, it says Golem, but it really looks like Smeagol, is not limited by the gimmick, so which is kind of cool. And it looks like I had 3 of these guys. I must have had these guys on real cheap discount. Here we have a Twilight Frodo, which is basically a clear, translucent Frodo from the original Fellowship of the Ring. You can see this one has no articulation at the knees, or at the feet, or even at the elbow. So yeah, this is a recreation, or a remold of the first Frodo character, but just in translucent form, which is kind of cool for display on there. And looks like I had more than one. We have here a Pippin in armor, and this is from the Return of the King Trilogy edition. And I believe he has, let's see here, no action gimmicks, although they say for his gimmick you place a sword in his hand, and that's about it. So good that it's not limiting his, oh, he does have a button. I guess he does have a gimmick, which kind of sucks. But taking a look at the figure in the package, it looks alright. I think that might be a hinged shoulder, and if it is, hopefully it's a ratcheted, like the Awen in armor on there. And you can see here his ankles are got hinges, so that's nice. Much better than the first release of Pippin in there. And he's got the Gondorian helm and outfit. That was from, I can't remember the character's name, but when the character was a younger lad, he inherited that armor. And we have here Merry with Rohan armor. I just purchased this one recently, and he does have a gimmick for the sword slashing action, but you can see here it's hidden beneath the cloak, and you can see that his arms are hinged, and it looks to be a type of a ratcheted type of articulation, which probably won't hinder it too much. So you can probably get this guy decently posed. You see hinged elbows, probably swivel beneath the sleeve there. And you can see hinged knees and hinged ankles as well. Very good likeness to Dominic Monaghan in a wig. It's very cool, and he's got the nice Rohirrim shield and helmet on there. And I think that's a Rohirrim sword, not the one he had in the novels from the Barrow Downs on there. And we have here a Mount Doom Frodo, which I like because this is fairly articulated. There's no gimmicks on this one other than at the base for some sound gimmicks on here, which is very nice. So there's no gimmicks to hinder the figure. And you can see this one is superposable, so he's got double hinged elbows, double hinged knees, hinged ankles, looks like ball hinged shoulders. So this guy's fairly articulated. He even has a hinged neck. right on there. It's very, very cool. And I'm running out of time again, so we'll go ahead and continue to part 3.